Got a good question from Wayne, who's asking about gi versus no gi for beginners. So he says that I started jiu-jitsu about a month ago and was wondering if one or both was better. I'm already in overload trying to retain all the info. And he's wondering sort of which way he should go. And I've also been asked this question a bunch recently. One person even asked if the gi was even realistic. So I wanted to touch on some of those ideas. So first off, Wayne, thanks for the question, but let me preface this whole video with take everything that I say with a grain of salt, because again, I'm sharing my beliefs, and ultimately you have to make your own beliefs. And there's so many people like on both sides of the fence on this thing that are saying, oh, you need to train in the gi because it's the way, right? And then there's people that saying, oh, you shouldn't do you should only do no gi, you shouldn't do gi because it's not realistic. You should train in our way. And they create this splinter, and it's more of like a way to pull people over so that you get this little, click. It's like a us against them type of thing. So it's an influencing tactic. So take my ideas, take whatever ideas you see, and take them and let them sit in your brain for a little bit while you train and dabble in both, and you can sort of figure out your path later on, okay? And again, figure out your path, because this is your journey, it's not mine, it's not anybody else's. Figure out your own way of going about this. Now, to get into it, I think honestly you should do both. I don't think, like you said, your problem is retaining info. You should do both. Mat time is going to be the biggest cure for retaining more information, right? Because you're just going to be on the mats. You're going to continually absorb it while you're there, right? Whether it's gi or no gi. And honestly, there are really important lessons that they both have to teach, I think. I think there are really valuable lessons that the gi has to teach, and I think there's really valuable lessons that the no gi has to teach. And I think honestly, at the end of the day, like for me personally, I would not want to be limited to being able to do one or the other, right? And what will end up happening is if you focus on one, you'll probably have, like, I've seen this happen with some of my students. They focus so much on gi that then when they eventually want to go to no gi, they struggle with it because they're not nearly as good at it because they've gotten really grippy. Or I've seen people where they do no gi too much, and then when they go to gi, they get so frustrated with the gi. So you want to be able to do both and be able to do them interchangeably. And I think that, at the top end, there's a bit of a separation, especially with the rule set and competitions, but also with the techniques that are available. And you'll definitely see a difference at the higher end as people start to specialize in stuff. You'll start to see stuff like, whereas like in the gi, you'll start to see people do all these lapel grips and sleeve grips, and then in the no gi, you obviously see a lot of leg locks, and it's a little bit more. You see a little bit more speed in it. But again, that's at the top end. In the beginning, you just need to train and do both, I think. And to me, it reminds me of like someone if they came up to me and said, "Hey, Chewy, should I start with dumbbells or should I start with barbells to get stronger, or kettlebells, right? Whatever." I would just say yes. Just start training, and you can lift in all of those things. And as you get into it, you can say, well, you know what? I really like this training. I'm going to go do CrossFit, or I'm going to go do powerlifting, or I'm going to just do kettlebells only. You find your own way to go about this stuff based off what you feel, not what I feel, right? But just in the beginning, start with both. Start with everything. And as far as people saying that the gi is unrealistic, people can say that, but you're basically wearing a jacket and a pair of pants. And I remember when we did our suit rolling thing. I know if you haven't watched the video, go watch it. It's on the thing, put in suit rolling. It's ridiculous. It's hilarious. But as hilarious as it is, I remember after we were done, we were all kind of like sitting around like, man, this thing's pretty realistic, because you realize that if you fight a person and you have any sort of fabric on you, it becomes a weapon instantly. It doesn't matter if it's a t-shirt, a jacket, a tie, anything, it becomes a weapon. It can become a weapon. And so when you understand that, you're like, whoa, right? Like that damn gi that we wear, man, that's actually kind of realistic. To me, what's unrealistic for a traditional fight outside of the gym is someone wearing spandex and spats, right? I mean, how often do you see someone like walking around in a rash guard and a pair of spats? Right? Probably not that often. But people wearing like a jacket, people wearing a sweater, a t-shirt, pair of pants, see that all the time. Now, if you're talking about a mixed martial arts fight, then maybe it's not so realistic. But I think that the gi is a very, very realistic tool if you want to get down to it. So my advice to you, Wayne, getting back to it, I think I've said this already 3 times or so, train both. Right? Just do them both. There's no reason to say only limit yourself to one, because again, as you train, you want to be able to do everything. You want to be able to train jiu-jitsu in its complete fashion. So do gi, do no gi, learn techniques on both ends, and then sort of see what you like the best and formulate your own ideas.